Welcome back, everybody. We got a great interview for you. It's Movie Monday, and tonight's showcase is particularly gruesome. Hollywood Theater is presenting two prime examples of grindhouse cinema from the 1980s later on this month. One is Maniac from 1980 and Vigilante from 1982. They are gruesome, thrilling, bloody, and it's part of the Summer Bummer double feature. You can see both of these in one night, and there's some really special parts of it we're going to be getting into with Dennis Dredd and Tiffany Kenaley from Wyrd War. You guys are the programmers for this at Hollywood Theater. Thank you so much for being here.
That's right. Thanks for having us.
All right, so a lot to get into this. Just having grindhouse cinema in Portland, just what does it mean to have these films to share in Portland in this kind of way?
Yeah, well, these movies are very important to us. We feel like they've traditionally been undervalued. Both of the William Lustig films that we're showing next weekend have been controversial. They've been under attack. He found himself in the eye of a media storm when Maniac came out. It was considered, harmful to viewers.
Right.
We deeply believe in cinema, the power and magic of cinema, and we think these movies are really important, and we also think their time has come to reach a new audience.
Right, and I've heard something similar. I remember hearing about The Exorcist when that came out.
Yeah.
That had its own counter and protest to it. So it's
one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
Think about how we look back at it now. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know what makes up a grindhouse film, do you think? What are some key aspects of it?
Yeah, well, having grown up in New York, I actually, my dad took me to see Kung Fu films on 42nd Street, so I actually got to experience a true grindhouse.
That's pretty lucky.
And what they really were, they were called grindhouses because they were showing films all around the clock. For $3, you could stay and watch 5 hours of Kung Fu movies. That's where the term comes from.
Right.
But what they've come to be known as lower budget films, and particularly with William Lustig, he's a guerrilla filmmaker. The two films we're showing next Saturday could never be made again. He made them very much as a guerrilla filmmaker. He didn't have permits. He just grabbed his small crew, went on location, and stole the scene.
Yeah, and they're both based in New York City, right? So
very much New York City films.
Yeah, and I could tell. I watched a bit of a trailer for one, and it looks fantastic.
Are you okay?
So I will be sooner or later. So Willie, remember me the name of the director?
William Lustig.
Really, William Lustig, and he's going to be at this double feature, right? How special is that?
He's one of our favorite exploitation filmmakers of all time. He hasn't been to Portland in many, many years. He's so excited. We're thrilled to have him, and he'll be there. So if anyone's upset by his movies, they can
talk to him.
They can answer to William Lustig.
There we go. So I'm curious, Tiffany, how long have you been a fan of grindhouse cinema? What got you into it?
Oh gosh, I have a lot of young people in my life, and I always say I like to be scared when I know that I'm safe. And I think that goes back to my childhood of accidentally watching Children of the Corn when I was a kid with my friends, and just knowing that I was safe and having that excitement run through me.
Yeah, and I know that horror movies and violent movies like this they really showcase the gore and the violence like this, guerrilla filmmaking as you called it.
Yeah.
What do you think? I know that we don't see many of those films out in big theaters like this. Would you say, how would you say the horror genre has kind of changed over the years, since the 80s? Because when you look at Maniac, not a lot of movies today look like Maniac,
Yeah, I would actually, if we had more time, I would say horror films have saved Hollywood and the studio industry many, many times. Every time the studios are in decline, it's always horror movies that gets people back in the theater. One of the reasons we call our ongoing series the Summer Bummer is because it typically happens on the hottest weekend of summer, and we're trying to get people back in the theater. They're usually at the river, they're camping. We drag them back into the theater. We show two horrific movies, and we have the director with us, so that's the Summer Bummer part of it. But horror movies have saved the film industry for years, and the evidence is in all of that anecdotal data that horror movies encourage violence, cause violence. We now know that that is not the case. In fact, horror film viewers are more empathetic, they're more compassionate than people who don't watch horror films.
Okay, I cannot wait to see them. And
there's a science behind it.
I believe it, and I know that I was a little more sensitive after I watched the trailer for Maniac.
Therapists are standing by.
Right. Dennis, Tiffany, thank you guys so much
for
being
here.
Really appreciate it. You guys can catch the Summer Bummer double feature on July 19th at 7 p.m. at Hollywood Theater.